Good afternoon, everyone. Today is April 6th in the Woodstock City Council. This hybrid meeting is being held in person here in council chambers and electronically in accordance with section 238, subsection 3.3 of the Municipal Act and section 16.6.24 of the City of Woodstock Procedure Bylaw. This meeting is being live streamed to the city's YouTube channel, and a recording will be posted on the city's website following the meeting. The meeting is also being broadcast on Rogers TV. An agenda of the meeting can be found on the agendas, meetings, and minutes pages of the city's website, and everyone is in person today. And Councillor Leatherborough will be reading the resolutions. There's no closed session. Are there any disclosures of conflict of interest? Councillor Wismer Van Meer.
I have to declare a conflict of interest for item 15A, the 2023 Community Grant Program, as I am a full-time employee of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Oxford County.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Matters arising from the minutes and the minutes. Councillor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Lauder, that the minutes of the regular meeting of Woodstock City Council held on March 16th, 2023, and the minutes of the special meeting of Woodstock City Council held on March 30th, 2023 be adopted.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed, carried. There are no additions to the agenda that I'm aware of. Presentations, and now we do have a delegation. I will ask Meredith Maywood to please come forward for the Tourism Oxford update. Welcome.
For tourism. Oh, great. That really works. Oh, thank you. I'm pretty casual. I think you'll figure that out today. So it's integral that we do all three parts of that we're actually bringing the whole picture together, from knowing what we have to offer, who's interested in it, helping develop the product to bring more visitors to the area, and help with business success through marketing and development. When we talk about what we have to offer, we have to think about who's a good fit for us as visitors. So we work with Destination Canada's Explorer Quotient, and in that they look at consumers for their interests, demographics, and behavior. So we know that what's available in Oxford County, looking at the primary categories, is appealing to 51% of Ontarians. So that's very significant. We're looking at basically three target segments: authentic experiencers, cultural explorers, and free spirits. And those groups, they're interested in immersing themselves and appreciating what we naturally have available in Oxford County. They want to enjoy our local food, get to know our culture, get to know our people, and learn more about us and have an authentic connection. And they really want to do some unique activities as well, particularly free spirits. We also know we have to keep on top of tourism trends. That's looking at product, looking at purchasing behavior, and what consumer values are at the time. This work is so important to make sure that we're going into market at the right time with the right message for the right people. And we know that our strength, because we are a growing tourism destination in Ontario, it is our diversity and our partnerships. We are constantly told that people are amazed by the collaborative culture in Oxford County and the diversity of offers that we have available. So bringing that all together, we're able to make a top-notch product. For example, today I'm sending in story pitches to the province of Ontario, and I have well too long of a list that I could do for just 1 month. And when we talk about product, we're looking at what the consumers are looking for, what we have available, but we're also looking at where we align with what's happening at a provincial or regional level and local level. And we know with that, our primary pillars when we're promoting tourism is Tour Oxford, which is our program that is a bit of a catch-all. It's incorporating things that are in close proximity to each other that need a diverse need and activities that people are looking for. With that, we know there's unique experiences people want to enjoy. People might be traveling by foot, by car, or by bike. And with that comes our cycling product as well, which includes gravel road and paved road cycling routes, as well as trail use. We actually just ran a winter campaign as well that included information about public transit in the city of Woodstock and intercommunity transit as well. And then also we do work in the area of culinary tourism. So a lot of people have gotten to know Oxford County through the Oxford County Cheese Trail, which has won actually provincial awards for leadership and also for experience of the year or event of the year. And with that also Oxford Fresh. So we know we've got amazing products being grown and produced here within the city and beyond its boundaries. And people want to come and enjoy that, whether that be at a restaurant or visiting a store. We also know we're doing work in the area of secondary pillars. So this is work that's development. So we're looking at the consumer's needs for sustainability, diversity, equity and inclusion, and outdoor activities. And we've been doing work to develop in those areas. We are a Green Step certified Sustainable Tourism 2030 organization, and we're Rainbow registered as well. So we do this work, but we do it in partnership. We're working with our regional partners, we're working with local businesses, and we're coming together, we're meeting, we're networking, we're sharing ideas, and we're basically making things happen at a group level. And last year, I believe we had over 300 people sign up for workshops, training, and opportunities that we had. So here, for example, this photo, this is about, I think in total, we had about 50 people that day come out to talk about local food, from chefs to producers from across Oxford County. We also, when we do our work, we're not a revenue generator. We're here to support business and growth. So that's what we focus on. Any business can have a listing if they're in the tourism realm for free on the Tourism Oxford website, but they need to be meeting the needs of consumers. So for instance, if a business isn't actually responding to Google inquiries and questions and comments on Google, that's actually something that will benefit them much more if they're doing that first. So if people aren't meeting the criteria, it's not a no, you can't be involved. It's a yes, how can we help you get there and get you up on the site? We also do a lot in collaboration, bringing different businesses to work together. The Cheese Trail actually is over 30 businesses across Oxford. And we offer a variety of partnership opportunities in addition to that, and we're looking to expand even further. So in your attached documents, you actually have our 2023 partnerships publication. And then you also have our report for 2022. And we had a lot of success last year in 2022. We did receive Tourism Relief Fund funding, and we were able to do a lot with that, but we also supported businesses to get their applications in, providing letters of support and helping them with their applications. Also last year in our advertising, we do it through partnerships. So we reach out and we work with our regional tourism organization, Destination Ontario, where we're getting 50% or more in matching funds quite often. So last year, our digital ads alone were over 8 million impressions. And I like to highlight that we are a year-round destination. We have businesses that know they are, but sometimes locally we don't always recognize it. But I have to say, not only did we recognize it at tourism and the businesses that are involved, but the regional tourism organization Ontario Southwest noticed it, and they actually did a joint partner ad with us for the winter months. And it was their first major winter campaign that they ran because they saw the wealth of opportunity here in Oxford County. So I always like to talk about results because with management, we are interested in results, and I believe we all are. So we actually analyze postal code inquiries for people that ask us for information packages. And we just ran it for 2022, and we do this in partnership with Ontario Southwest, who provides access to the research. I'm excited to say we are reaching the 3 market segments that we know will have a great time in Oxford County. So they like the product that we're putting out there in our marketing, the product that our businesses have developed. And we're excited to see that they're deciding to come and experience Oxford County. So it's 41% of the market segment is what we're reaching right now. And as we said before, our full potential is 51% with just those segments. Before I wrap up, I just want to say thank you to the City of Woodstock and all your departments and divisions who I get to work with and make this work happen. We really appreciate the support, and we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do if we didn't have the product to promote and the people to help us make it happen when we have to make some of the activities go forward. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Is there any questions for Ms. Maywood? Councillor Leatherborough.
Thank you through your chair. Thank you so much for coming today. As most people know, I'm a big fan of Tourism Oxford and your team and Meredith, everything that you do for Woodstock and beyond. And when we're talking about diversity and sustainability, I was wondering if you could just share some information for the public on the Rainbow Registered program. I know our business is currently going through that application process, but just some of the benefits that has brought to Oxford, those that are certified or in the process.
Absolutely. Through the mayor to Councillor Leatherborough. Yes, so Rainbow Registered is a program run by the Canadian Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. So it is a certification program that's being promoted actually this year on a national level. There'll be a marketing campaign promoting this directory of businesses that provide a safe space for consumers. When COVID hit, some of the first people to head out and travel were people from the 2S LGBTQIA+ community, because they're used to having to think about their safety when they travel. So this site allows people, in particular, we've heard already from one of the businesses that is certified, they had people come out because they saw them on the site and they want to come to rural, but they don't know if they're welcome. So having this registration lets people know that we want to provide a safe space for them to visit. And we're very excited to be part of that and work with the businesses that have been applying. At this point, the Woodstock Art Gallery is certified, and they have a phenomenal exhibit on right now, if you haven't seen it yet. And then also Utterly Ridiculous Farm Life is registered, and we're working with several other businesses that are putting the registration in at this point. And also, sorry, we are registered as well as the Region Ontario Southwest.
It's actually the question I had written down, so thank you. No, just on that note, we were in at one of the local businesses and a couple was there. They were down at the art gallery checking that out, and they were grabbing some lunch. And while it was at Nudes, actually, I don't mind sharing that. It was at Nudes Pasta for lunch one day, and they were quite excited by looking at Woodstock, and they were coming from the GTA, so it was quite exciting. Yeah. Any other questions? Councillor Wismer Van Meer.
More just a comment for Ms. Maywood, and just congratulating yourself on the Ontario Tourism Champion of 2022. I think that, I mean, Ontario is a very big province, and to get that acknowledgement and that recognition, I think is amazing for not only you and your team, but our county as a whole. So congratulations. And again, just echoing what Councillor Leatherborough said, and thank you for all you do, because I know when I was working in media and Oxford tourism was kind of getting going and you were coming in at that time, there was a lot of excitement, and to see how much it's built in that time is pretty incredible. So congratulations, and keep doing the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Councillor Schadenberg.
Yeah, really just a comment and congratulations on your efforts. Things like Oxford Fresh, or even the art gallery tours in May, which is coming up again, that you be able to sort of cohesion, promote things. I was looking at the Woodstock Curling Center website, for example, and the first thing that popped up is a link to Tourism Oxford. If you're looking for something to do while you're in Oxford County, if you're coming for the curling event, to be able to do that. So it really is people looking for you for a promotion and vice versa, you assisting them with the promotion they need when it comes to an event like the Ontario Mixed Curling Championships that are going on next week in Woodstock. If I'll give you the dates, April 12th to 16th, just in case you happen to be thinking about that right now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and thank you for advocating for the sports in the area.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Wheaton.
Thank you through the chair. I just wanted to say thank you again for your presentation. And I think it's a great opportunity for Woodstock businesses to realize that you're here working for them and representing them. And that if they have any questions, they can reach out to you on how to get involved. People might not think that that they'd be eligible to be on the cheese trail, for example, but through a little bit of effort, working with your team, it might be a great fit. And so I'm really pleased that this is on the agenda today. And I encourage Woodstock businesses to get connected because there's a lot of resources available to expose them to a much wider audience.
Through the mayor to Councillor Wheaton, thank you very much for that. And we did bring some new partners on to the cheese trail this year downtown, including Whisk and Roll. So we are very excited for that. And shameless plug, Big Cheese Days is in May, every Saturday in May. So hope to see you out on the road.
Councillor Louder.
I too just want to thank you for coming forward and telling us about all the activities and the partnerships that we have in Oxford County. And too many times we hear, oh, there's nothing to do in Woodstock, or there's nothing to do in Oxford County. Well, they just have to go to your website and see that there is lots to do. So keep up the good work, and I think we should be very proud of Oxford County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing else? I just want to as well, congratulations on your award, well deserved, and let's keep this partnership thriving because again, it's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I am looking for a motion on that. Councillor Leatherbarrow,
That Woodstock City Council receive the presentation from Tourism Oxford as information.
and a seconder by Councillor Wheaton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed, carried. Thank you again very much for coming today. And next up, I will Carver Thompson. Not here, is he coming as a delegation? Yeah. I don't see him online. Okay. So we just move along completely, nothing is needed on that, okay. Then moving along to 10A of consideration of correspondence. Councillor Wheaton.
Thank you. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council express support for Bill 5, Stopping Harassment and Abuse by Local Leaders Act, which would require the code of conduct for municipal councillors and members of local boards to include a requirement to comply with workplace violence and harassment policies, and permit municipalities to direct the integrity commissioner to apply to the court to vacate a member's seat if the commissioner's inquiry determines that the member has contravened this requirement. And further, that this resolution be circulated to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Honourable Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and Honourable Ernie Hardeman, Oxford MPP, and further that this resolution be circulated to Oxford County and area municipalities for consideration.
Okay, looking for a seconder on that motion before discussion. Councillor Leatherbarrow, okay. Councillor Wheaton, discussion?
Thank you. Through the chair, just a few thoughts. Ontario's 444 municipalities each have a code of conduct for their elected officials and an integrity commissioner to investigate cases. But for some towns and cities, it seems like poor behavior is getting in the way, from name calling and harassment to the point where some councils are actually refusing to even meet. So bad behavior isn't new. 100 years ago, the Ontario Municipal Board had to be created because there was so much corruption and malfeasance on council. So this isn't new, and I'm disappointed that we have to get to this point of having a Bill 5, but I think it's important. Municipal staff from across Ontario are indicating through the Ontario Municipal AMCT Ontario Municipal Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario that their environment is not a good one today. And in some cases, staff and councillors are not even comfortable attending their own council meetings for fear of bad behavior. Association of Municipalities of Ontario recently published a paper in March, actually just March 27th, last month, indicating that the board believes the current tools available to municipal councils to address unethical behavior and disrespectful discourse are inadequate and do not meet public expectations. So prior to the introduction of Bill 5, which is still in the approval process. The most that could be done for any staff or council has been insufficient in disciplining any rogue member of council. And there's lots of examples from around the province, even in the last term of council in our own recent history. So I feel like Bill 5 needs to be supported by Ontario municipalities. It's unfortunate that we need to have a Bill 5, but it would include a requirement to comply with workplace violence and harassment policies. And so that's one of those reasons why I brought this motion forward today.
Okay, thank you. As a seconder, would you like to speak to it, Councillor Leatherborough? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this is really important, but I do want to applaud the previous council because from my records, it looks that it was supported Bill 5, as was a resolution on October 6, 2022, which I think is really important and proves that Woodstock City Council past and future are leaders. I've also gotten to know Emily McIntosh, which is the force behind a lot of this advocacy work. I can also share in that advocacy is exhausting, but it is important once you reach that end goal. So to date, 42 councils have endorsed this recommendation and resolution, as well as on March 20th, 2023, the Toronto Star wrote an article. So I want to applaud Emily and her small but mighty team for bringing this to the many municipalities across Ontario. And a common piece that I keep close to my heart is that we want to be holding the door open for future leaders. And I think ensuring safe, healthy, vibrant workplaces is very important. And I'm happy to see that this is on for correspondence today.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the motion. All those in favor? None opposed. Carried. Thank you. We do not have any staff presentations, no mayor's report, council reports, but we do have some department reports. 14A1, the 2022 tender awards. Councillor Schattenberg.
Yes, so Woodstock City Council received the 2022 tender awards report as information.
Are you moving that motion? Okay, seconded by Councillor Wismer Van Meer. Discussion? Councillor Schattenberg.
Just want to point out that, of course, there's the monetary amount that's noted in there, anything that's above that. And of course, it's a tender process. And one of the questions I had, that there's 8 total tenders that are awarded through this process here by passing this one motion. But the one that's always of interest to me, being that been on the Recreation Advisory Committee for a long time, is sort of the parks building process and in fact, kids' playgrounds or children's playground areas. So I have maybe a bit of a question for Brian Connors in the Parks and Recreation Department. We're approving $190,000 for a brand new playground, in essence, through this tendering process for Homer Brown Park. But give us an idea as to how this actually works, because it's kind of an interesting scenario, an interesting process that the Parks Department goes through to create these.
Your worship, through the councilor's question, the Parks Department does get a committee together to evaluate the playgrounds for playability value, how unique they are. And they're made up of the park supervisors and the inspectors who look at the parks for safety. And through that, as well as obviously the cost, that they're evaluated and ranked.
Just gonna add, by talking to Chris Kern from the Parks Department, that it's kind of interesting. They'll say that the budget's 190,000, then they sort of put an RFP to the whole wide world and see, well, what can you do for 190,000? As far as Brian mentioned, playability for the playgrounds and the age groups to be involved. Is this a junior playground, a senior playground? And then the companies come back saying, well, this is what we can do for the city of Woodstock for 190,000. So it's a bit of a nice backwards way of doing things, instead of us asking, well, here's what we want. How much is it going to cost us, like a road repair?
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor? None opposed. Carried. Thank you. Next up, we have from Engineering Water Operating Authority. Looking for a motion, Councillor Tate.
I'll move that Woodstock City Council request County Council to defer consideration of changes that impact the status of the city of Woodstock as operating authority of the water distribution system, and further that City Council direct city staff and request County Council to direct county staff to bring forward a renewed water and wastewater services agreement to replace the 2006 service agreement before the end of 2023 for approval by city and county council. And further that this review include the proposed changes to DWQMS system and all other necessary updates.
Thank you. Seconded by Counselor Wheaton. Discussion? Counselor Tate?
Just a short comment. After we went through all of this last year, I didn't realize that we didn't have a new agreement since 2006. So look forward to getting this signed and moving forward and no more issues.
As mine. Any other discussion? Counselor Wheaton?
Yeah, just echoing that comment through the chair that I appreciate that so many counselors did a lot of homework on this motion this week, asked a lot of questions. And until we have an agreement in place, I feel like we are likely to revisit issues over and over and over again. So finding that path back towards a contract and agreement is going to set us up equally for success rather than contentious issues in the future. So, and I appreciate Councillor Tate putting the effort into putting this motion together. Nailed it my exact thoughts, and so I appreciate the work on that.
Yes, thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Lauder?
I just want to thank Councillor Tate for putting this together, and the support that you the county councillors have for looking into this and trying to get it solved once and for all. I don't know if it'll be once and for all, but at least for a period of time. So thank you very much, and hopefully it goes well when you go to it's received well at county council.
In my opinion, it's in both of our favors to put an agreement together, county as well as the city of Woodstock. So any other discussions or thoughts? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? None opposed. Thank you. Carried. 14B-2 subsidized transit fares. Looking for a motion. Councillor Leatherborough.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council direct staff to bring back a report to modify council policy PR 017, fee assistance and recreation, to add a transit fare subsidy of 50% for the cost of a monthly pass to the policy. And whereas the County of Oxford currently funds single-use transit fares for low-income households, that City Council requests County Council to consider expanding this to monthly passes, and that a copy of this report be provided as information. And further, that any budget up to $30,000 annually for this program not covered by the County of Oxford be financed through the slot machine reserve fund.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder on that motion? Councillor Wismer Van Meer. Discussion? Councillor Schonberg.
Yeah, I guess unless Councillor Leatherborough wants to comment first, I did want to say that I talked to Jeff Springstead, the supervisor for transit on this, and he kind of explained to me the fact that the County of Oxford, for example, in 2022, purchased 1,500 transit tickets from the city. Well, that wasn't monthly passes or weekly passes or packages of 10 or anything like that. That was individual tickets. And that was just to specifically help people maybe get to a job appointment or just for a short time. They just started a new job. How can I get to work for a couple of weeks just to get myself going before it goes into the whole idea of being able to take transit. I just want to point out from my other hat, and I didn't think it was necessary to declare a conflict on this whatsoever, because public transit is definitely a very integral program that the city of Woodstock offers, and is certainly very much subsidized. Just to give people an idea, when they start talking about $275 for a transit fare, and of course you can get a transfer downtown when you take that transit fare if you're going to say Walmart or a certain distance. Just want to point out to people that if you wanted to take a taxi in the city of Woodstock based on the grid system, if you're going to go from the Cowan Sportsplex, say out on Ridgewood on the other side of Pittock to Walmart, it would cost you $16 for the one trip. But it would be door to door, obviously. But just to give people an idea who might be watching this, that I don't take a taxi, I don't take a transit. How much do things cost nowadays? I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Leatherborough.
Through your chair, yeah, so thank you, Mr. DeHaan, for the report. It was really great to see the breakdown and specifically the great deal for the students in the summer. So I'll be promoting that myself. I had one question that if this is finalized and supported, is there an easier way for anyone to apply? So, you know, I see that there's an option for online at Cowan Park and then through the aquatics, but I'm wondering if we could make that a bit easier for accessibility's sake, whether it be at City Hall or just what that would look like, just to make it more of a one-stop shop, if that's possible.
Your worship, through the council, the actual application to get onto the system, I'm going to refer that to a director of Parks and Recreation, since the fair program is run by them. That's all right with you.
Your worship, through to the councilor's question. Right now, we are in the process of moving our registration system from one provider to another. It's quite intensive. And there is some hardware pieces for us to do intakes. So for us to get that hardware, by the time we kind of get it and install it in a different location, we're probably going to have to flip. And then that hardware is not going to be accessible. We'd have to change again. So I think in the short term, we'd probably have to start off in these locations, but we would certainly plan to have a lot more to make it more accessible once we move out and into the new system. I think that would be certainly the case. The other option too is if there is if it's a paper intake, we could probably take that in different locations as well, and then just move it out to the places where we can input it. So that's another option.
Thank you, Councillor Wheaton.
Thank you, through the chair. I want to thank Social Planning Council United Way for bringing this to our attention in the first place by writing correspondence. They see people each and every day who are struggling. And so I think they will be delighted to see that this has come forward. I really want to thank Director DeHaan. When the motion was first put forward and we asked for this report, I didn't expect this quick a turnaround. So I really do appreciate the work and the effort. I know that there was probably a lot of research involved, and so appreciate the timeliness and the opportunity to meet people where they're at. We are in a different economic situation than even a year ago. So being able to help people when we can as a community, I think it means a great deal. And I think Social Planning Council and United Way will feel a great sense of relief if they can offer this to their customer base.
I agree. Councillor Lauder.
Thank you. I do have a hard time approving this, or I've thought a lot about it. And in reading the report, it appears we already subsidize seniors and students with discounted passes. The city fares are much below the majority of the 17 municipalities in the report. Chatham is at $250, along with Tilsonburg, and St. Thomas, the same as ours. The rest are all higher. The Parks and Rec Department runs the fee assistance recreation under the FARE program, and the county already funds single-use transit fare for low-income households. Again, we are reducing slot funding that is used for grants and applying it to the balance to the revenue budgets and the capital reserve budget. So in the long run, this does affect city taxes. I'm not sure if I can support a resolution to provide additional subsidy. If anything, I would like to see bus service start at 5 a.m. to enable those working in factories to be able to make use of our transit system. I'm hearing of a lot of people having to walk out to Toyota Pachuca, and they're walking out there early in the morning because there isn't bus service. So I won't be supporting this.
Thank you. Councillor Wismer Van Meer.
Just kind of a general comment. I don't disagree with what Councillor Lauder is saying, and the fact that my husband works at Toyota Boshaku and is part of the hiring group out there who have a lot of people that do have to walk, but they also have a lot of people that are working full time that aren't able to afford the transit as well. So it's kind of a two-way street. The fare program is great. I have nothing against that. It's just unfortunate that the low income cutoff has not been adjusted for a few years, and that's not a municipal level decision by any means. So that doesn't fall on anyone's lap in here. By looking at it, I think it was 2020 was the last time, and we've seen just in the last 2 years what inflation has looked like and the crisis that is hitting so many communities. So I do hope that the low income cutoff is going to be looked at again. I think it's federally that it's addressed, but there are people that are working out there full time that can't afford these amenities. So that's why I'm in favor of this, because we really do need to try to support those folks that are facing these hard times.
Any other questions? Councillor Schoenberg?
I guess just a general question for you, Mayor. If we pass this resolution now, we're not applying a transit fare subsidy of 50%. We're just asking for a report to be brought back with that as a possible suggestion of 50%.
I'm going to ask the CIO to reply to that.
Your worship, Councillor Schadenberg, you are approving the actual fare subsidy of 50%. What the report coming back is purely administrative in terms of amending the policy for future reference purposes, that the council policy should be amended to reflect this decision of council rather than just have it as minutes within a council meeting that we have to go searching for 10 years from now to find exactly what was done. So it's purely administrative. You are approving this, you're financing this with this motion.
Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Well, I'm just going to add, I looked at this and Councillor Lauder brought up some great points. No arguments with any of her comments whatsoever, and kind of views. I am in favor of this only simply because this is helping those people that need it the most immediately. We can certainly look at different ways, hopefully in the future, of adjusting our hours. There is a huge need for that as well, but I think this is something we can do now. And I guess with that, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried 6-1. Thank you. Next up, we go to Student Civic Awards of Excellence update. Looking for a motion, Councillor Tate.
Woodstock City Council refer the report regarding Student Civic Awards of Excellent update to the bylaw section of the agenda.
Okay, moved by yourself, seconded by Councillor Wheaton. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Oops. Next up, diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. This one's important. Councillor Wheaton.
Thank you. Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council adopt council policy HR 020 - diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yes. I need a seconder for that motion first. Councillor Leatherborough. Okay, RC, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here today to recommend council's consideration for adopting the HR 020 diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. So just as a quick overview on this policy represents City of Woodstock's commitment to creating and maintaining a work environment where everyone feels valued, is treated equally, and has that sense of belonging that we want our employees to have. Its aim is to promote a workplace that is free from discrimination and harassment of any kind, and supports and encourages the differences any of our employees may have. So in essence, it is these differences that allow new perspectives, more innovation, enhancement of our recruitment, talent pools, as well as improving our employee performance, because when people feel that they are valued, Their job satisfaction increases, as does their performance. So acknowledging that this is just an initial first step, our next step in the process here, and we have so much more to learn and talk about with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion. But we want to ensure that this remains a priority for the city of Woodstock going forward, and making sure that everyone feels welcome, valued, and supported while they're in the workplace.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the report? Councillor Leatherborough.
Through your worship, I think this is fantastic. I'm sure I speak for everybody here, but what really stood out is the line where it says employees are the most valuable assets, and I couldn't agree more, both personally and in this new role. So thank you very much for bringing us forward, and I'm very excited about this.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Well, I would just like to say thank you. When I learned as mayor that you've been working on this and getting it ready to bring it forward, this is fantastic. I think this is what the majority of us certainly have talked about on a regular basis. So thank you so much to you and the entire team, of course, that have been putting this together. So this is important. And with that, I guess we'll call the vote. All those in favor? None opposed. Thank you so much. And moving along to special committee and advisory task force reports. Okay, 2023 community grant program. Councillor Wheaton, I'm looking for a motion.
Thank you. That in accordance with the community grants policy GA 003, Woodstock City Council allocates the following grants for the year 2023. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Oxford County, $5,000. Parent Student Council of Friendly City Taekwondo, $1,125. STEM Camp, $4,500. Victoria's Quilts, Woodstock Oxford Branch, $3,000. Woodstock Agricultural Society, $2,700. Woodstock and District Developmental Services, $5,000. Woodstock Lawn Bowling Club, $3,000. Woodstock Rotary Music Festival, $5,000. Woodstock Triathlon Club Kids Do Committee, $1,000.
Thank you. Councillor Leatherborough seconded the motion. Yes, thank you. Discussion. Councillor Wheaton, I know you're on that committee. Would you like to tell everybody the process a little bit?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you through the chair. We had a number of excellent applications from local organizations. Definitely an oversubscribed request for dollars. The committee met and had great discussions, great input on thoughts on where money could be best spent. And this is the recommendation that the committee is bringing forward. I will say there is a second intake in October. And so there are still funds available for organizations, and I would encourage organizations to apply to this process with a reasonable and a request for what they can truly make a difference in our community with some of these funds.
Thank you. And I had the clerk whispering behind me here, September 1st, I believe. September 1st. So everybody is aware. Yeah. Thank you. And that is, it's got to be a tough job for the committee. So I'm going to thank the committee right off the bat, saying, you know, narrowing all that down. As mayor and somebody that hears a lot of these requests are coming through, I do encourage the grants committee to maybe start looking at maybe expanding some of those and accepting, because I know we do not spend necessarily all the money that is scheduled for this. So I'd like to see us trying to maximize that, because there's so many groups that need it these days. Yeah. Councillor Wheaton.
Yeah, I'll just follow up with that when the requests came in and we were oversubscribed, there were certainly dollar amounts that were requested that the committee didn't feel appropriate bringing forward because they might set a precedent for future requests. There are some things that a grant just really shouldn't be funding. If you fund a human position, then that becomes something that the grant is going to be needed every year. And if there isn't a sustainable plan, and so that might be an example of bringing forward requests, as I said, that really can make a difference in our community, but is considered a one-time a grant because there is no guarantee of future funding.
Thank you. Councillor Lauder.
Thank you, and I just want to thank the committee. I've sat on that grants committee before, and I know it's always hard to say no. And it's you go over and over and try to give what you can. So thank you for the work that you've done on this. And I know it isn't an easy thing to say no. So thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Councillor Schadenberg.
Yes, I just want to wish the Friendly City Taekwondo team all the best at the 2023 Canadian National Championships in Vernon, BC. That's going to be quite a trek for them. They do a lot of fundraising to do. And the city of Woodstock's obviously, by looking at the amount we're giving them in a grant, is a very small portion of the amount of money they'll need to go to the nationals in British Columbia. So I wish them well in all their financing.
Excellent, as do I. Thank you. Any other questions or comments before I call the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, carried. Moving along, no notice of motion, no new business that I'm aware of. Draft bylaws, Councillor Leatherbar.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wheaton, that the following bylaws be given a first and second reading. 9589-23, a bylaw to amend municipal code, chapter 402, awards of excellence. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wheaton, that the following bylaws be given a third and final reading. Oh, pardon me.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? None opposed? Councillor Leatherborough.
I'll say this one extra slow. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Wheaton, that the following bylaws be given a third and final reading. 9589-23, a bylaw to amend municipal code, chapter 402, awards of excellence.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion there? There's normally quite a few, so I can see how that easily got jumbled through. So any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? None opposed. Carried. Thank you. And with that, we'll start with Councillor Lauder tonight.
Thank you. I don't have to sort out when everybody else has said it, all the things.
Trying to keep people on their toes.
I just want to report the art gallery, the call to artists of the Visual Element 65 annual juried exhibition is now open to mark its 65th anniversary. This important exhibition has been extended into a cross-border celebration of art between our sister cities. The call is open to Southern Ontario artists as well as Woodstock sister city Sylvania artists. Submission deadline, May the 1st, 2023 at noon. So we just don't have a long time now to get your submissions in. To apply, please visit the Woodstock Art Gallery's website. And I just want to wish everyone a happy Easter. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the little ones at the Easter egg hunt on Saturday at 10 o'clock at Victoria Park. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Leatherborough.
So happy Easter to everyone. A long weekend we are about to embark upon, and I don't want to steal the thunder from Councillor Schadenberg, but I have some sports update. Basketball, Oxford Attack, both the U11 girls and U11 boys. My son plays on the U11 team. They both got gold, as did the U10 boys team. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So some gold medals that we're still celebrating. And yes, Easter, I hope everyone has their sugar and chocolate fill and a nice long weekend with their family.
Thank you, Councillor Wheaton.
Thank you. According to my calendar, today is Tartan Day. Don't really know what that means, but I'm disappointed there aren't more kilts in the room today. So for next year. I echo my fellow councillors in wishing everyone a happy and safe Easter. As the Vice Chair of Southwest Public Health, I encourage you to follow them online. They have some fantastic tips this week on safe food handling to ensure that you're cooking your food appropriately, and not just the first meal, but those leftovers also have to be reheated appropriately and stored appropriately as soon as you're done eating. Unfortunately, also have to bring forward the news from Southwest Public Health that syphilis is on the rise, and it is one of those, it is one of those infections that is rarely treated or rarely tested for. So for those in the population that feel that they could be at risk, I strongly encourage you to be tested, and that testing is available through Southwest Public Health. Feel free to give them a call and they will take care of you.
Yeah. Councillor Shattenberg.
Yeah, first of all, I want to mention a couple of passings. One's recent. The Accessibility Committee from the City of Woodstock lost a longtime volunteer in Donna Burley passing away. I mention that because I've always one of those people who's big on community volunteerism, and I talked to Heather Buchanan from our clerks department, who's been on that committee for a long time as far as the city staff side goes, and she wasn't sure exactly how many years Donna was on that committee, but had to have been numbering in the 15-year range for sure that Donna Burley was on that committee. So we mentioned her passing. Also want to mention that it was on April 14th, 1923, so 100 years ago next week, that Klondike Joe Boyle passed away. He was obviously much older. He was about 66 at the time that he had passed away. But Klondike Boyle is one of those people that fits into so many different categories in the city of Woodstock, whether it be sports. Councillor Leatherbarrow. He was a boxing promoter, was into horse racing, also took a hockey team to Ottawa from Dawson City, the Dawson City Nuggets, to play for the Stanley Cup. But he became more famous really in World War I during his heroics in Romania and helping their government out, and really became a noteworthy Canadian through World War I as well. So very diverse past. Want to mention that the big book sale at the Woodstock Art Gallery, with proceeds going to the Friends of the Woodstock Public Library, is on Saturday, April 22nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This big book sale is returning from before COVID, but note that it's at the art gallery now and not at the public library. And one other thing I wanted to mention is K2K Productions is a big show coming up April 21st and 22nd. Willy Wonka Kids. So the kids about grade 2 to about grade 6 that'll be in that production. And they also have Newsies coming up May 11th to May 13th. Both those productions are at Movement Church on Lansdowne Avenue in Woodstock. Everyone knows Brian and Jen Belith. And of course, Teal Poirier is one of the people behind that program as well for K2K Productions. One last thing, Jerry. I do want to mention that at a great breakfast on Tuesday at Southgate Center. The breakfast was terrific, but so was the update from our mayor. It was the mayor from the breakfast with the mayor at Southgate Center. The Woodstock Chamber of Commerce put it on, sponsored by Toyota Motor Manufacturing Company. But I wanted to mention that it is now, if you wanted to view it and you weren't there, it is now available through Facebook on Rogers TV Oxford County on their site. I've also posted on my site as well the link to watch Jerry's speech. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Councillor Wismer Van Meer.
Just a couple of quick things, keeping on the theater line. Theater Woodstock presents Guys in a Garage. It opens next week on April 14th. It's going to be quite a funny production from what I've been told. They're really excited about it. One of the cast is a younger cast member. I'm not even going to try to guess an age, but I'm going to say late teens, early 20s. And he's super excited. Talked to him last week about it. So we're encouraging folks to get back out and support our local theater, because these people put a lot of their heart and soul into putting these productions together. Last Friday, I am part of the Theater Woodstock board, and we had our 2023-24 season announcement. It was a great night, had some live performances, but it's all posted on their social medias and websites, so you can see what's coming up for 23-24. I'm really disappointed because I really wanted to try out for the Cinderella musical, but It's right during budget season for council, so I think it might be a bit of a conflict. And of course, it's Easter weekend, so happy Easter to everybody. If you want to check out my socials this weekend, I'm going to give a little bit of a flashback to what Easter has meant to my family. Of course, the Easter Bunny was an avid shopper at the Wismers of Woodstock chocolate shop for many, many years. So I have some photos. My mom dug into the archives, pulled out some photos from my younger years. You'll see me working at the Woodstock Market just beside us here at City Hall. And even some of the newer shots. So get out and support our local businesses. Drop by the Woodstock Market. It's kind of a sentimental thing for me every year on the Easter weekend. So happy Easter, everyone.
Just throw out there, I was a counselor and I was in a play. That was quite a few years ago now, of course, but it's a wonderful life. So it is possible. It is possible. Counselor Tate.
I just want to comment about a call I had 2 nights ago, I think, with the water. Senior called me down on South Street and the sewer was flooding up, coming into his basement. So I called, this is for your benefit. I called Tom Fuller because he was on call and he got a hold of the Public Works people right away. The senior called me back that night and was thrilled with the service that he got from the city and how nice the gentlemen were. And they came back actually in the next morning. So I wanted to pass that on because I always say we have great staff and we do have fantastic staff. And happy Easter.
Yes, I'd like to echo that. With all the rain we've been having lately, I've had a few people come out and our public staff has been phenomenal. So thank you so much. Dan, please pass it along to everybody. It is greatly appreciated because how quickly, and we talked about this before the meeting today, but how quickly we are addressing things, take a lot of pride. So thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, Tuesday was a great day. I was so pumped for the mayor's breakfast, my very first State of the City address. I want to say thank you to staff. I could not have put that together without such great staff again. Like to call out, Colleen here helped so much. It was such an integral part of that. And Spencer, of course, with the slides, a lot of comments about those as well. So I just want to say thank you. We are a very proud team here and never would have been nearly as successful without that. So thank you. And of course, thank you to Toyota for being the primary sponsor. Looking forward to build those relationships with them. And of course, the Chamber of Commerce and Southgate Center. It was a wonderful breakfast. There are next week, it was briefly mentioned, the curling club is having their opening ceremony. It's going to start around 6:30 for their championship starting on that is next Tuesday night, I believe that is. I'm going to be there and giving greetings on behalf of City Council and all of the city of Woodstock. There's a lot of people coming to that, and this is for an important seat to move on to provincial. So wish them the best of luck for a great event. And Councillor Lauder, I just want to say thank you. You're going to take my position. I'm going to go and visit some family this Easter. So I am going to be heading out of town, and Acting Mayor Lauder will be there in presence to welcome everybody for the Easter. So unfortunately, I will not be there, but you're going to be covered. So thank you. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a happy long weekend for Easter weekend. Be safe. Please spend it with family. If you are traveling, again, slow down, take it easy. I think we should be, touch wood, okay with weather. So just mind your speed. And with that, I'm going to ask for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Leatherborough, seconded by Councillor Wheaton. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.